This episode of the ChatGTM podcast is brought to you by Budget Branders, your source for custom branded cups and bags. So what makes them unique? Well, they source using a hybrid supply model, they import to keep prices low, and they have domestic backup to fill in the gaps. Learn more at budgetbranders.com or connect with Budget Branders on LinkedIn. And now it's time for the show. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever the heck you happen to be tuning in for, whatever time you're tuning in. Welcome to the ChatGTM podcast. I'm your host, Michael Beck, and along with me is almost always, can't talk today. It's Mr. Chad Horn. Chad, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Now, when you say almost always, I have to think about that time where it was reversed and it was me and not you. That did happen one time, folks.
And I think it was this week or it was last week.
It was about a week ago. Give or take. Yeah.
Okay, so the audience wants to know what's with the shirt. You don't usually dress this nice.
Oh, this is
I'm the audience in this case.
Father's Day gift. I'm wearing it out of respect for the gift giver. Got to wear it at least once, right? Or in this case, twice.
That is a sign of respect, and it's funny the things that your kids get you, and that you end up toting around the house for a while just to let them know you appreciate it, and then it goes in the box to never be seen again. So I got you.
No, but I like this one, and for those who can't see, these are little fishies, red, blue, and blue.
Okay, I'm down with some fish. Right on.
It's patriotic too. It's 4th of July coming up, and the colors
are they red, white, and blue fish? I feel like I'm colorblind
there's
now.
No white fish on there, but there's a white background. So
Okay, good enough. All right, well, let's shift gears here. You mentioned 4th of July. I just learned a lot about America's game recently, and today you've drummed us up a pretty amazing guest who also has some of that America's game in his blood. Tell me who our guest is today, Chad. How'd you find him? How'd this start? What happened?
Well, we've been fans of his. I was going to say company. Now I'm going to say team because we got baseball on. I've been a fan of his team forever. The CEO of our guest company, which, you're going to do the reading, but I'm going to say Buyer's Edge platform. We'll at least get that far. Yeah. John Davey, I met this guy back in like 2013.
You met John or Erik?
John.
Okay.
The head of the company that Erik works for. And I feel like I feel vindicated because I was putting energy behind this partnership back then, and people were asking, who is this guy? I was like, I'm going to call the shot. This is going to be big. And I undercalled it. This has become bigger than big.
Yeah, I know I'm going to get the number wrong, but I might get close because the number probably moves so fast, especially knowing John Davey and his M&A appetites. Wasn't it like when we were at Prosper last year, he had acquired 23 companies in recent
it's probably under. I think the high number's higher. That might have been for a year worth. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to this guy that's coming on, Erik, because it's almost like working with the Elon Musk. It's almost like working with a Bezos. Like, how do you hang in a team like that and take that kind of energy and then turn it into something productive while running as fast as he's laying down that track, right? This is an incredible conversation. All right, well, let's do our read-in. The guest has been waiting patiently in our non-green room, so let's get going. So everybody, today's guest is Erik Wetzel. He is the VP of Sales at Buyer's Edge Platform. And Erik's story is a little different from your typical sales leader. He started as a pro baseball player. And this is where he learned early that success isn't about hitting home runs. It's about consistency, discipline, and showing up when it counts. And I have to imagine he's taken that mindset into building and scaling high-performing sales and marketing teams across multiple companies, and with a real focus on execution, culture, and results that actually show up on the board. So today we're getting into what sales leaders get wrong about winning, how to build teams that actually perform under pressure, and what operators can learn from sports that most people completely miss. Erik, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Just honored to be on.
Yeah, and when I say the show, now I'm thinking Kevin Costner and Bull Durham, like we got to the big show. So I think we're still playing the minors here. But Erik, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. It's funny hearing your guys' banter. I wanted to jump in so many times because one, I am colorblind, so I'm looking at chats and I say half, but one, I cannot tell those are fish. Two, I probably think they're black, gray, and white. So regardless, the shirt looks so good. And, Michael, just to answer your question about John, I don't even know. I truly, when I am on calls and talking to clients and prospects, I think I make up a number every single time about where we're at company wise, because I have no clue. I think we need like a Wikipedia page of all the acquisitions, because I don't know if I think it's above 40, maybe 50 now. And it seems like every single week there's another one in play. And, we'll probably get to it ways down in the show, but, I absolutely, I love and respect John. Just one of the best dudes. His story, obviously you guys had him on the show, but just what he was able to build, and his mentality is why I love working at Buyer's Edge. I'm not one that likes to follow normal processes, follow the rules, move slow. Like, I do not like being stagnant. And I can tell you that guy runs the company exactly how I would do it and how I try to run my sales teams of, let's make mistakes, let's mess things up. Let's take chances. And, so many times I look at, especially in the world we live in the restaurant side, right? You have these operators who, I get it, there's a lot of financial stress tied to them, right? It's not a normal organization where things are hey, I'm spending the company's money. This is their livelihood. And, it's one of those things where we hear all the time, well, I don't want to be the guinea pig. I don't want to, let me know when, this is all vetted out and in a good spot. And that's what I love about John is it's like he doesn't care. It's like, man, this looks great on paper. We're going to take that chance, because if we wait, somebody else is going to get ahead of us, and somebody else, is going to take our spot. So it's like, look, it's a 50-50 shot in the dark that, this could be successful or it could not. But, I appreciate the effort and the risk. And, if it doesn't work out, at least you took that chance. But if it does, you're going to be light years ahead of everybody else. So I love that mentality of his.
Yeah, he's kind of a gangster. I mean, like,
totally.
that like, I have energy. He's like, hold my beer.
I can't hang with him.
Energy.
I have to Irish goodbye every time we're at a conference or something. I'll be like, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm out of here.
Love it. Well, let's dip into a little bit of business here, Erik, and start out. We started with baseball on our initial conversation. So let's go with that. And so, after looking you up and getting to understand a little bit about you and your philosophy and some of the content you've created and things you've said out there, you talk a lot about consistency over home runs. Mm-hmm. How does that actually show up in how you run a sales org day to day?
Yeah, I think the home runs are great, right? But
everybody wants them.
Everybody wants them. They look great on paper, but one of my favorite sayings in baseball is, every coach would say it growing up, is you hit a blooper and it's a line drive in the scorecard, right? So it's not necessarily about that end result right away, but stringing together bloop after bloop after bloop to get that consistency. And I look in the world that we live in, and especially who our target market is, right? We are really big in helping, single unit operators, mom and pops, and help them really be successful. And it's about understanding where those little wins are, where the things that we can do to create consistency, create new processes with them that add up to those big things, right? It's not all about one big thing that's going to take you over the line. And I think
get them on base
and move them over, sacrifice bunt, squeeze bunt them in and get them across the line, right? And I think, one of the main philosophies we take within our sales department is win at all costs, right? We hold ourselves to always integrity sell and doing the right things for the operators. But at the end of the day, it's about winning, and we will do whatever it takes. We'll be resourceful. We'll think outside of the box. Like, if you ask me what that trait is that I look for in a good salesperson, somebody that's in, go to market, is being resourceful. And it goes back to John's philosophy, right? Most things in life, most things in business are not a straightforward path, but how are you going to find those little ways to squeak out wins? And that's what we're all about at Buyer's Edge Platform, is just maybe doing things a little unconventional, but at the end of the day, getting the job done and winning the game.
Love it. Love it. Chad?
Erik, when you or your team are talking to an operator and you're listening and you're figuring out what's going on and you're trying to figure out how you can help them win, you have some tools at your disposal, but it's not like baseball where you got a bat, a mitt. Like, it's like golf. You got a bag full of clubs, like 50, 60 clubs. So I'm curious how you think about even wrapping your mind around everything you have to work with to bear on helping an operator. And feel free to tell people what Buyer's Edge Platform actually is and does before you.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know if I could, I won't do it justice with the 50 or 60 or maybe let's call it 100 today companies that we have within Buyer's Edge Platform. But what we've really set up within the platform is just a one-stop shop for helping operators be successful. A lot of our programs, from the produce side to the procurement to the GPO to the now software side, we cover the full suite that any operator can come in and make sure that they have great contracts. They're getting the best prices on what they're spending, but can cover the full ecosystem. And I think that's where we set ourselves apart, is like we are truly in it to help them grow and be successful. And we know the world we're living in today. It is not a great ecosystem for restaurant operators right at this minute. So being able to have something that we can come in and offer them everything under one roof, bundle that stuff together, give them great pricing, cover a lot of our software. Like it takes away from that fear of grabbing into your pocket, pulling out what I need to have for my livelihood, and trusting our processes, right? And, for everything outside of our software division, we're essentially bringing value at no cost at all. We'll look at, from the GPO side, we'll look at contracts and we will see, hey, where can we help out, without changing a thing. Bigger organizations, they may, without changing a thing with our contracts, may be able to save $50,000, $60,000 a year just buying a different contract, right? So, there's a lot of value, and I think in today's world, everybody is after that one ecosystem, all under one umbrella. I want one-stop shop. I don't want logins to 10 different things. And they want a brand and company they can trust. And I think, jumping back to John's story, right? Like, that's one of my biggest selling points, is talking about how this dude literally started with his dad going door to door, knocking, going in the, back at restaurants and trying to get meetings and trying to bring value and to see where Buyer's Edge Platform is today. And the fact that the Davey family still owns, don't quote me on this, but, I think 90+% of the company is huge, because it truly is that family owned and operated, and people who came from, I'm grinding going into, one location, and every little mom and pop we can scrape is a win, for us, and it's a win for the operator. So, it's a great philosophy to have, and especially in the world of, private equity and hardcore, we got to hit revenue, we got to hit numbers. Absolutely. We all have to hit numbers. Everybody on this show, has numbers to hit, and that's what we're in. We're in the go-to-market space. But I think understanding that the value that we truly get to bring to operators can be make or break in a family business that's been around for 50 years. And, I don't want to be too long-winded on this, but I come from this is my first stop in hospitality. I come from health tech, gov tech, and you're dealing with bigger corporations. You're dealing with just black and white. And I think when I got into this space, you truly see this difference in how people buy, and that there is true fear of spending. And our job, and what I really, really take pride in, is making sure they are getting taken care of and they're getting the best solution, and they're getting something that, hey, if you are spending money, that it is going to make an impact, whether it's on your food costs, whether it's on your labor costs. There are going to be benefits to that. And I think that gives me pride of, like, it's one thing to help out a major corporation, which, don't get me wrong, there is value to that as well. Yeah. But when you deal with entrepreneurs and family run businesses for 50 years, like, there is something awesome about that I take great pride in. It is a great feeling, and it's a great feeling when they see success and they come back to you and be like, man, I was about to shut our doors and you guys helped us. Like, that's a cool feeling when you can make that direct impact.
That's rad. Erik, and one of the reasons I'm excited to have you here today, because I also am a RevOps coach, and I love sales, all things about it. And one of my personal hills to die on that Chad will tell you is, I believe that the deal happens in the discovery almost always. A good discovery is your deal. And with the platform as vast as what you're working with, tell me a little bit about how you and your team approach discovery, because that tells you where to route them, right? Like, how do you manage that in a vast world that you're in? Some people sell one thing and get it wrong. Like, how do you do this?
Right, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I don't even know we probably have, and I don't even know we have. But I think it all comes down to the way we go about it from the discovery aspect is, everybody has a pain, right? Everybody, I don't care, even when things are good, there is something that could be done better, right? And as I know you guys are, I'm a perfectionist, right? I might not hit perfection, but I'm going to strive for it. And when I'm looking for new tools, there's a lot out there. I want to find stuff that's going to make me the best. I want to find stuff that's going to set me apart. And I think being able to, one, identify why somebody was even looking, right? If they come from an inbound source, it's pretty clear, right? Why are you coming to us? If it's from an outbound source, it's just the education side, right? It's a blessing and a curse, everything we have to offer, because, to your point, where do you lead with? But when you can kind of figure out, level set with the operator, look, things are good. If you could do one thing better, what would it be? And then and take that and run with it, right? Hey, I don't know what I don't know what, I don't have set contracts, right? I'm just going off of what they gave me. I don't have a consultant in place. My food cost is 50%. It's like there's things that we can kind of point out. And the great thing is, I feel pretty comfortable, no matter what they throw out, we're going to be able to solve something for them within our platform, which is a cool problem to have. So, I think being able to just dig a little bit deeper, unless, a single unit operator is pulling in, $50 million a year, which, I hope there's somebody out there that is, there's always going to be something that they can do better. And I think the platform is just able to solve a lot of those needs that would come up.
Chad?
I want to ask you this question, Erik, because I think you'd be the perfect person to answer it. Something I've heard maybe 50 to 100 times.
I'm a little scared.
Yeah, be afraid. Be very afraid with this warm-up.
Salespeople who have a theory around how they could help, get, mostly in the world of technology, but get deals. So since you guys do technology and not technology, here, tell me if this works. You talk to an operator, you figure out their pain points, and you could see that there are certain technologies that you have that are going to help them. But they're interested in, but they don't have they're not sure they want to spend the money there. So you help them with GPO, and you reduce their food costs to some big degree. You save them $1 million.
Yeah.
Can you go back after that and say, hey, we found that budget for you. Now, do you want to invest in technology? Does that happen? Does that work?
I think you're answering your own question. Yes, absolutely, it does work, and that's our goal. Is we want to come in and we want to provide the value, right? We want to get them. We want to address what their pains are, and if they're good on other parts, that's fine with us, right? We want to solve what their main issues are, but at some point they might have ridiculously high food costs, and we bring them on to our back office solution. They may grow big and need supply chain help. There's all these things that it's like things can come up, and I think being part of the platform, they're going to be a lot more informed about it. And we have a lot of salespeople in our organization, as I'm sure John talked about when he was on here. I don't know if there's any other departments in the company. I think it's just sales, but we're making sure, and I think sometimes the sales it comes off like, oh, you're just gonna ram stuff down my throat. No, that's not what it is. It's what we really do here at the platform is make sure that everybody is educated on what we have to offer and provide them solutions in the off chance that they need them. And I think it is great when you have that one-stop shop, right? It's like going to Walmart. I can buy anything that I need, right? Sporting goods, groceries, whatever it is, that's what the platform is all about. And I think just as somebody grows within the platform, not only can you get better pricing, which is a benefit to them, but you can get it without having to go to 5 different places to solve those needs. So, to answer your question, Chad, absolutely. If we bring somebody value, we want to continue bringing them value in any way possibly that we can.
Erik, I imagine, and I don't know how big the sales team is, but I imagine it's probably more than 50 people over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Throughout the whole brand. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I imagine there's a mix of some senior, although senior salespeople seem to be less and less in the market, and people typically hire young and hungry attitude trumps. So with thinking about that, most teams say that they're data driven, but reps will still take that no really personally, especially the junior ones that are figuring out it's a numbers game. Mm-hmm. And it seems like you frame that as data, not a no. Mm-hmm. How do you actually get the team to operate and buy in that way and go, I got my no today? Right? It's not necessarily a bad thing, but how do you sell that to them? Because it is another form of selling.
I love that question. I'm so glad you asked it. And I frame this all the time on one of my favorite sayings is, and let's go back to baseball, right? You can fail 7 times out of 10 and still be a Hall of Famer, right? And I remember growing up and as I started my, I don't even know if it was before my before or after baseball career, but I remember my dad telling me, and he's like, he was a sales guy as well. He was a stockbroker. The dude just did he was slamming phones. And I remember just the stories he would tell me of like, man, I would make hundreds of calls and I would get denied every single time. But that one call out of 500 was what keeps you coming back and all you need, right? It's like
golf.
It's like a golf swing. I'm going to have 17 bad holes, but I'm going to have one.
You get that one bell ringer, you're coming back. Yeah.
So, it's what we instill in our reps is just that, that rejection is part of life. And honestly, in all aspects of it, we are not going to learn from the good. We are going to learn from the rejection, from the bad, from the tribulation. We are going to learn when things feel really dark, right? Because that dark doesn't last. At some point, somebody is going to answer and they are going to be interested. And I think just having that persistence and what we really talk to, on my team is being able to just get back up, right? And being able to be resourceful, be able to think outside of the box and just get back up and take another swing, because the more swings you take, the more routine it's going to be. And the more rejection you take, I know you guys know, the easier it gets, right? I know that if you are a junior rep and you get a no, man, I'm going to curl up in a ball and start crying. Like that does not feel good. But when you get hammered with no's over and over again, you develop that thick skin. And I think it gets easier and easier. So it's all about the repetition. And, again, at the end of the day, it's like, what I tell my team is it's just a job, guys, right? Yep. There's a lot of way more important things in this life than this work. You got family, you got faith, you got all this stuff. And I just want them to keep an open mind, right? And I think when they can go about things and realize that, hey, this rejection has nothing to do with me. It's the product, right? Blame it on something else. That's okay. And just get back up and try again, right? And, I know we're in sales and we have our quotas and we got to hit numbers, but the numbers are one thing. What's more important to me is the effort that's being put in. And if any of my reps, if you're given 50%, you're probably going to get 50% out and I'm going to be pretty pissed off. If you're given 125% and it's just one of those months, we're good, man. We focus on the things that we can control and everything else out there is just noise, right? So if we focus on the processes we put in place, we follow the workflows, we do our best, we bust our ass. I walk away a happy guy, right? And I will back everybody. I will go to bat for them all day, as long as we are doing the little things right.
And you can tell when reps aren't working. I hate to say it, guys. If you're a sales rep, we know you're not asking questions. You're quiet. The activity isn't email. It's there. You're not communicating with your team. If things are going on, people are getting a lot of questions. Things are happening because they're trying to move a deal along. There are a lot of signals that aren't in the CRM you're trying to work with other folks. And it sounds like you're probably a bison coach, which is bison. The thing people might not know about buffalo is that buffaloes don't run from storms. Do you know this one?
Oh, we'll dive right into that storm.
Yeah, a buffalo will run to the storm to get on the other side of it faster, knowing if it's coming this way, I'll be through it faster.
Yep, I love that.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing that, Chad.
So, Erik, your CEO, I think in October, your interview back, I think he said that he wouldn't hire somebody unless they were using AI.
He emphatically said that.
Now. Yeah. So, I'm curious for you, and I don't mean technology or AI specifically, just how do you how are you innovative in the way you lead your sales team or equip your sales team in terms of anywhere you want to go with that?
Yeah, it's a crazy world we're living in right now. And from the sales perspective, I think there was a lot of uncertainty about the AI when it was first booming. We would get on demos and people were asking, does it have AI and stuff? I'm like, I don't even think you guys know what AI, like, what do you want from it? So, I think we've moved past that and maybe it's just expected now, but AI is, I'm almost, it's scary because I'm like, I don't know how I would live without it these days. I will be the first to say, I have a powerful mind. I have great thoughts going through my head, but I write like I am in second grade, right? Run on sentences, like I am going to word vomit everything. So even at the base level, when ChatGPT was something like there is not any email, there is not anything that I don't put through there first to make sure it's professional, to make sure that it's coming across the right way, to get recommendations. It's such a tool. And I think when John was probably talking back whenever that was, it's about being more efficient, right? And for me, yes, unfortunately, there are a lot of things nowadays that it could probably replace some jobs, but there's a lot that it can't. And what we instill just at the platform as a whole is how do we be more efficient with it, right? It jumps back to John's mentality of, I'm going to move fast, right? I'm going to make acquisitions that people might look at me like, what the hell are you doing? But I'm going to move fast and I'm going to take those chances and I'm going to be ahead of the game. And honestly, today, like if I see somebody that I'm like, man, I can tell this person didn't throw this through, an LLM before, like I almost look at it like, what are you guys doing? Right? Like it's so easy. The time that it saves is out of this world. And I think it just makes us more professional overall and it makes us more efficient. So I think what I have my reps do is like, just use it. We have Claude nowadays, and there's so much stuff from an admin perspective, right? Let's jump back to the sales part. What are the things that salespeople are complaining most about all the time?
Right.
I don't want to put it in Salesforce. I don't want to mark my activity. I don't want to go through reports. We have all this admin stuff, and now we have these tools that can essentially be assistance to us. And part of, I don't know, we probably weren't there with when you guys talked to John, but his new company, Collective IQ, part of the platform.
He was just about to launch it.
Yeah. So it's out fully now, and it's pretty amazing what the power of it and what he's harnessed it to do. But he's building some of these things that I'm like, man, are we turning into Google or SpaceX or something like that? Because what he's trying to empower for the rest of the platform, it's kind of cool that it's built in-house. And I know big organizations like Amazon and some of these, major Fortune 500s, they've done similar things, but it's cool when there's such a focus on making everyone within the company more efficient. And now having all these agents, it's helping us build our software quicker. It's helping, again, all tying back to the clients. How do we bring them more value? And with what we're being able to build throughout the platform, just with this new company, Collective IQ, it's astonishing to me. And it's really fun to talk about. Like, there's a lot of boring stuff in what we do, right? And I think there's a lot of enjoyment in these innovative AI technologies that we can bring to the world. And I'm saying this to John now. I hope it doesn't ever replace my job, but I'm super excited for all the operators that get to take advantage of it, and it's going to be really cool and expanding all of our other products, not just that product itself. So,
awesome.
Erik, you've said before somewhere that the best leaders make everyone else better. And that sounds obvious, like no duh, but most teams, funny enough, don't operate that way. How do you actually build that kind of culture with a large sales team like that, and then balance what we've just been talking about, where AI is doing some of the heavy lifting and in fact might be taking on some of the things it shouldn't, critical thinking? How do you, because that's a big subject right now. Critical thinking is one of the main concerns about AI, that we're losing our human edge when we source this out to these tools. So how do you bring that all together on a team, on culture, on like the Jocko Willink accountability side of things? Like, how do you bring that all into one place and build that in your culture?
Yeah. Another great question. And that's really what I've worked my whole career, whether it be baseball, whether it be the professional corporate career off of. I will be the first to say that I have never been the best, whether it's back to baseball, whether it's best, in marketing, whether it's the best in sales. I have never been that best, but I do know how to motivate people. And I think that's where AI will never replace, is being able to relate on a ground level, right? There's whatever they want to talk about of having robots and stuff, there is a human trait. There are human traits that will never be able to be replaced. And I think I want to motivate. I want to lead with passion. And, just because I'm not the best, I'm going to get my people to be the best every single day. And I take a lot of pride in that. I take a lot of pride in the relationships that I have with my reps and my people. I go back to my playing career, and you don't see it as much anymore, but you had these hard ass coaches all the time, right? That just ripped you down, and everybody's like, it's going to make you tougher and it's going to build you up. And I've done the exact opposite of that. And, I actually credit, I hope she doesn't watch this, but I credit my mom to that.
I hope your mom watches.
I hope she doesn't. But, she was that, I had my dad that was kind of like that hard ass, that he was going to ride me until, I get stuff done. But he wasn't the one I was worried about. It was my mom. And, it was, I live like this today, that I always think, would this disappoint her, right? I live to not disappoint. And I want my reps to take that same mentality, right? I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel accountable and know that we are going to win, and we are going to beat the hell out of everybody we go up against, but I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel taken care of. I want them to have that mentality of, Erik is not going to, if I do something wrong, he's going to come up and rip into me and make me go home and cry. I want them to come to me and be like, man, I messed up and I let you down and I'm really sorry about that. Right. And I think that's this new philosophy of leadership that I really love. And I'm starting to see a little bit more of, just taking this different approach and having that mentality over this scaring people goes a long way. And I love that. And I think it gets the best results.
Well, it feels like something like that too is an open door. If people are scared of your response, they're not going to come to you with things because they're scared of your response, right?
Right.
And so that creates trust. Absolutely. That's good stuff. I could go down this hole for a long ways. You and I are
do we have enough time? Like, should we?
No,
make this
that's why I got to pass off to Chad. We might have to come back for another RevOps talk. Chad.
So going back to the platform, you mentioned that you can get all these things under one roof as a customer. But I'm curious about this overused word, synergy. So for you, what are some of the things you guys do that it's like, because we do this and this, we can come together to do something really cool and special for our customers that they're probably not getting anywhere else?
I think it just goes back to that one-stop shop again, right? There's and the trust that we build, outside of, well, I'll say every company that's under the platform, they're very, it's almost like having a consultant, right? A lot of our customers have been long time, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And the cool thing about when a new company comes on the platform is they retain everyone. They function exactly how they were before. They just have more resources to go build stuff, to provide better support, to provide more value. And I think that goes a long way, right? We think of a typical PE structure in a typical corporate world is you have an acquisition and everybody is canned or merged in and doing something else. And what really relates with us is none of that changes. And I think it goes back to what our main goal is we worry about retention, right? We're not at that point where, we're like, hey, let's sacrifice everything that we've built and the great relationships that we have and longtime customers to go after a revenue number. We are more focused on retainment and growing that way and steadily growing, as opposed to this rocket ship of sell somebody something they don't need. Churn is at an all-time high, but you're appeasing the board or you're appeasing the private equity company. And I think the fact that we are able to focus on that retainment and the synergy of truly providing valuable products for what their pain points are, and not overselling what they don't need, knowing that 95% of our products in the platform cost nothing anyways. It is truly about how do we help the operators be more successful and stay in business and grow their business. And I think being on the platform and having that one-stop shop and having somebody that you've trusted, whether you've been on the platform, you're getting recommended by one brand to another, there's that trust that goes a long way. And I think that's really what I think when I talk to people out in the world about Buyer's Edge platform, that's something that goes around is like, you guys have a great, a great role in the industry, and you have a lot of people say really good things about you, and a lot of people want to work here because we have good morals, we have good values, we know that we're in it for the operator and we're going to take care of them, and we want them to grow, and more importantly, we want to grow with them. So.
This is all, yeah. You definitely have to come back for another round. There's just too much
should we
GTM
just schedule
stuff.
it? Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. We need to just get this scheduled. But it's time to start landing the plane, and what I mean by that is it's time to enter our rapid fire round. We'll do a couple of quick rapid fire questions you can answer off the cuff, and then we'll wrap up the show and talk a little bit about where we're going to see you next and where people can run to Buyer's Edge. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Favorite baseball lesson that still shows up in your life today?
I'm not good at this. I would say go big or go home.
Okay. What's harder, a slump at the plate or a dead pipeline week?
Dead pipeline week.
I would imagine. First thing you do at 6 a.m. when nobody's watching.
Man, that is my favorite time in the world. And I'll tell you, it's 4 a.m. I get up, get my workout in, and then take my dogs for a walk. There is nothing better than being up before the rest of the world is, taking in the sunrise. And it's like, you talk about happiness, that is it right there.
Love it. One sales habit every rep should steal.
Resourcefulness.
Okay. A moment in your career that changed everything.
I think my baseball career turning me in, my baseball career ending and getting into the corporate world was the biggest blessing in disguise I could have ever had happened in my life. And I couldn't be more thankful for it. I thought there was a lot of regret and a lot of hurt and a lot of what am I going to do? And without the baseball stuff, I would not be where I'm at in my business career right now.
Love it. What do you hope your team says about your leadership?
I think that they just that they can relate, right? And that I'll go to battle with them on the, in the trenches every single day. And, the one thing that I will always do for them is support them and pick them up when they're down. So I hope they would say that.
Love it. All right,
I don't know what they would actually say.
Beep. No. Yeah. All right. Last one. So what does winning look like for you right now?
Winning for me just means one, from a pure business standpoint is hitting numbers and growing Buyer's Edge platform and helping out operators. But I think just on a day-to-day basis is enjoying what we're doing and enjoying every minute that we have. And, again, at the end of the day, it's like, this is a job. I want my reps to love what we do. I want them to enjoy waking up and coming to work every morning, and we're going to ball out. But I think that's the biggest win for me is just making sure the people I can directly impact are really enjoying and loving life.
Beautiful. Well, Erik, this has been awesome. Our final questions as we close this up. So where is Buyer's Edge platform going to be next? Are there shows coming up in July you'll be at? Are you going to be at the TRA? Are you going to be at RSPA? What events we're going to see at in Q3 and Q4?
I would say if there is a show out there, Buyer's Edge will be there in one form or another. I wish I had my exact schedule pulled up, but we obviously, like everybody else, have a busy post-summer show schedule. But I think just the sheet that goes around, we cover almost every show out there. So whether it doesn't matter what brand it is, there's probably going to be a Buyer's Edge platform brand at any of the shows you guys go to.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then if people are curious about, working with you, career opportunities, understanding an opportunity, what you guys sell, or maybe a prospect, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to connect?
I think they can just hit me up on LinkedIn is probably the easiest way.
Okay.
I'm sure they can scrape my email from somewhere, or they can always go to buyersedgeplatform.com too, and they can check out all the brands on there. So there's a lot of ways to get a hold of me, or just see the value and get in front of another brand. But I'm always happy to help facilitate those conversations as well.
And you mean another brand inside of Buyer's Edge?
Source One, AeroStream,
okay,
Inside Track. Do you want me to keep going? That should be our next question on the next show. Erik, name all 40 to 70, whatever brands there are.
Oh, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Well, Erik, thank you, dude. Love your vibe. Love your energy. You're definitely a welcome guest back on here anytime you want to talk about RevOps. I think, Chad, we don't talk enough about revenue operations. Like, we spend a lot of time talking about tech, but we are Ink Tank GTM go to market. So this was music to my ears, man. I absolutely loved the whole thing. I could have gone for another hour, no problem.
Likewise.
Thank you. Well, everybody tuned in for this episode, thank you so much. Really, if you're building, scaling, or leading a GTM team, there's a lot to take from this. And if you've enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe to the ChatGTM podcast for more conversations with operators that are actually in the arena and swatting home runs like our guy Erik here. And so, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. And as always, we like to close with Random acts of kindness, sprinkle that stuff everywhere. You never know whose day you're going to make better, just like Erik helped make our day great. So we'll see you guys on the next one, and have a blessed day.
Thanks, guys.